I don't know, I always felt like I was given HIV so that I could help. I don't know if that makes sense or not, because nothing's ever happened to me because of it. I was really partying hard, and I felt like I should have died, and I didn't. So there's got to be a reason, and I think that there's a higher power involved somewhere. Doing this right now makes me feel like I'm actually giving back. I come from an Italian family, and there's some alcoholism. My mom had me when she was 17, and so my grandma and grandpa and my aunts and uncles took care of me a lot when I was a little girl, so we were really close. I didn't have a bad family. I didn't have a dad around, and then my mom got married when I was like 9, and then they had 2 more girls after that. And then they moved to Grass Valley, and that really upset me because I didn't want to, be away from my grandparents, and I didn't want to be away from my friends and all that stuff. So I think I felt kind of like not part of them. I was like 11 or 12 when I started to run away. I used to sneak out my bedroom window, and I would always come home like within 3 days or something like that. But it was one point where I ran away to San Francisco. I ended up on Polk Street, and I was really fascinated by, in the 80s in San Francisco, it was just really it was like a festival all day long and all night long, and I met a lot of like drag queens and the gay men, and they just pampered and spoiled me, and they told me I was beautiful, and I was kind of insecure when I was at home, and so I was kind of ordinary, little chunky, stocky girl, and so when I went to San Francisco, I started to do meth, and I started to lose weight, and I started to feel like I was coming alive, And so the drag queens would do my hair and my makeup, and I learned about fashion, and I just loved it. I loved it so much, and I didn't want to ever leave. I only got high by snorting in the beginning, and then after a while, I started to use a needle. I remember all of us getting high and putting needles down on the counter or whatever, and then just going back later and grabbing one and then using it again. We all slept together. We all shared it. It was just a big party, and so we ended up all being positive. And I remember my mom telling me, Jennifer, you need to come home. There's something really bad out there, and you're going to end up getting that stuff. And I'd be like, oh no, she's tripping, because Lord knows I would never get anything like that, And so I continued on, and I ended up starting to do prostitution to survive out there. I was like about 14, and child prostitution was big on Polk Street. And I remember the first guy that picked me up, we call him Porsche Mike, and he he picked me up and he gave me $500, and I cried the entire time. And the messed up thing about that is he wanted to see me again shortly thereafter. I never thought that I was being abused or molested or anything at that time. I just thought that because I had ran away from a good family, that I had put myself out there. Come to find out later on in life that, it really has affected my choice in men and how I've been let people treat me and how I treat other people. I had been lying about my age to the San Francisco Police Department and going to regular jail as a 19-year-old when I was only like 15. They got really mad at me because I got arrested, I went to jail, and then I had to have them call my mother, and my mother had to tell them I was really underage. And so the guy told me, don't you ever do that again. And then I ended up going to juvenile hall with the rest of the kids. And then after that, I went home, and then I ran away again. And so after that, I really was estranged from my family. My family, they felt like they couldn't help me anymore, and so I kind of made my own family on the street. I was arrested in Marin County for a forgery case, and they were giving out HIV tests. It was like, sure, I'll take one or whatever, I didn't think that I was gonna test positive. And so this was in 1992. I was 22 years old, and I was looking at a prison term, and I went and tested, and the nurse called me back, and she said, "I'm sorry to tell you, that you've contracted HIV. It could be turned into AIDS." And I was like numb to it. I think I was in denial for quite a while. I didn't look like I had it. I didn't feel like I had it, and so to me, I was okay, and that's how I convinced myself I was all right. I ended up was almost trying to self-sabotage. I was hitting it hard. Like, I was doing a lot of drugs. I was selling a lot of drugs. I was carrying guns. My criminal history jumped. It was going up like really hard. And I went in and out of prison all the time. I went to federal and state prison. I did a lot of really dangerous stuff, and I was like waiting for this thing to happen, and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want anyone to see my medication. There was a point, it was AZT at the time, and I thought I was going to die. I've been ashamed of being a prostitute, selling my body. I've been ashamed of letting my family down. I felt like I let my family down. Even my grandparents, worrying. My grandmother was up at nights worried about me and stuff. I feel a lot of shame about that. I felt shame about having HIV until I became empowered with knowledge. I had these really great gay guys in my life that taught me that keeping it a secret gave power to people to talk about me and to stuff. So if I learned more about it and educated people, that it would take the power back, and I wouldn't be so ashamed. I have been clean and sober since February. I did have a relapse in between that time when I was in the program, but I got back on the horse and I'm okay now. I have a lot to work with my therapist, especially with the selling my body and stuff like that. I never talked about being molested or abused by these men, when I was younger. And I think that plays a big part on why I keep using. And so I'm actually working with my therapist about that. And I know I still have a long way to go as far as that goes. But I think using, I'm getting a good grip on it. I plan on going to college to be a counselor, and I want to go to high schools, and I want to work with kids, and I want to teach them about HIV. I don't want to die anymore, I want to live. And so I'm really excited about, getting myself together. And a lot of my friends, the runaway crew I had, they're all in sobriety now, like a group of them. They actually did an intervention on me when I got out of jail and got me to go to Walden House. So it was really nice, and I feel like the last of the Mohicans with them, and so I want to be on the same train as they are, Yeah.